Hello, everyone. I don't know about all of you, but I've actually really quite enjoyed all the reading so far this semester. It's kind of helped me feel not so overwhelmed and feel a little bit more capable about putting on a workshop. Still a little overwhelming, but it's nice to kind of have these chapters to teach us kind of how to go about it. So starting with chapters 1 and 18, chapter 1, it kind of talked all about the background of family life education and the history of it. And it kind of rekindled a desire in me that I felt after taking the family advocacy class. I kind of felt a little desire to maybe do parenting and marriage classes in the future. And so it was really cool to start reading more about that and the history of family life education and to kind of rekindle the desire. So I definitely could see myself being a family life educator because I have a desire to promote healthy marriages and families. And even though I'm not a parent myself, I've taken lots of child classes and I'm quite passionate about parenting and just the the just promoting good parenting for children for their benefit. Um, so some specific strengths and abilities and expertise that I might have that could help me play a role in taking family life education to those in need. First, immediately what came to my mind is I got to serve a mission. And in serving a mission, I worked with a lot of people who could maybe be considered people who could really benefit from family life education. So I've already done some work with some type of family education work on my mission. I have studied extensively various topics regarding marriage and family in my university classes, as have you all. And I think just my desire and passion for families and marriage that is a huge asset for me. And that I'm married myself, so I have lots of personal experience. And I'm a person who really likes to observe people and their relationships, and so I find that that helps as well. That could help me, and that could be a strength of mine to help me and as a family life educator. Um, it also so in chapter 18 it talked about the importance of drawing upon literature and with a strong theoretical or research-based foundation. And kind of simply put, I would say that it's important that it's critical to draw upon research-based literature for family life education because that's what gives you credibility. So if I don't have that in my workshop, then I kind of lose my credibility, um, and that type of literature, research-based literature, really helps give strength to a workshop, and it provides reliability so that the audience can really trust what you're saying and teaching them. So in chapter 2, it talks about different levels of prevention. And at first I thought that maybe the secondary level prevention would be one that is that most closely corresponds to my interests, because I like the idea of being able to watch people progress. So in the secondary prevention level of prevention, and you have people who may be struggling a little bit who could use a bit of help, as well as just more education on how they can prevent future problems. But I also really like primary level of prevention. The reason being is I really enjoy discussion um, and preventative work. I like working with people who have an opinion and have experiences that could really contribute to the workshop and could teach me as well. I quite like having discussions and having it be kind of a whole group. What's the word I'm looking for? Like that it's a group effort, the whole workshop, that everyone contributes and And so that's kind of why I think primary prevention would actually be really interesting and would correspond a lot with my own interests. Some potential problems that would occur if an educator slides into therapeutic remediation. One is that your workshop turns into a therapy session instead of a learning-based workshop. And also, most family life educators probably aren't qualified to be a therapist or to give therapeutic remediation, and so that could really hurt their audience more than help them. It's critical to be thorough in identifying the problem or need of the target audience, because if you don't know what they need, then you're giving them a workshop that really isn't that helpful to them. You won't have a good direction for your workshop because you'll be teaching things that maybe aren't that are not very valuable to your audience or helpful to them. And you can identify the problems and needs of your audience by doing a survey of those in your community or your target audience, or asking them directly. So going to them and asking their problems, giving them a survey to kind of see what kind of problems you need to address in your workshop. That can be a great way of doing that, is just sending out a survey to your target audience. Some simplified ways I could assess and respond to the specific needs of those I will work with in my practicum is, first, I think the use of social media is a huge asset. Social media is a very powerful tool. So I could post a survey on Facebook and specifying who my target audience is, and specifically asking that they are the ones who fill out my survey. But also I could plan a general lesson, and that as we go through our workshop, I could focus on specific aspects that I see my audience really needing as we discuss and participate in the workshop. So in chapter 16, it talks a lot about marketing, and I found marketing in relation to family education to be really different to normal product marketing. You really have to be convincing when you're marketing your workshop. You have to make it relevant to your target audience, and you have to make them feel like this is something valuable to them that they really need. They have to feel like it really applies to them. And something I learned is that it's really helpful to team up with a well-established organization, someone who already has a name out there and who has a lot of influence. That can really be helpful when you're marketing your workshop. Just a little experience that I thought of that I've had is when I was a kid. I remember my siblings and I put on a carnival out in our front yard, and thankfully our product was really easy to sell to our target audience, because our audience were other kids, and our product was a carnival. And so just having that on a big sign in our front yard drew lots of kids in. And that was just one example of marketing that I remember, of having those signs and just really by word of mouth telling people that we were going to have a carnival. To get the word out for my workshop, I've had a few ideas. I have a contact here where I live who's a marriage and family therapist, and so I could get in contact with her and ask her to get the word out with people that she works with. And there's a local library nearby that I could post flyers for my workshop. I could contact, there are a few local family clinics nearby that I could ask to post flyers in their office. And again, social media, Facebook, it's a major social medium to reach people, and can get a lot of people the information about my workshop. And so in chapter 1 in Appendix A, it talks about the different approaches, and I decided that I subscribe to both the collaborator approach and the interventionist approach. And I think this is because the collaborator approach especially treats the audience as capable and as important to the workshop. So it involves them, and it makes them feel like they're important to what we're learning, and that they influence the workshop, and that we're all learning together. With the interventionist approach, it really brings in the idea and that my audience should be involved in their learning, and I really want that. I want my audience to be involved in their learning, and I want them to be able to change their behavior as a result of the workshop. And so that's a huge part of the interventionist approach. is encouraging that participation and that change in behavior. I think the role and purpose of the family is to teach each other and to help each other progress and succeed in this mortal life while they work towards salvation and eternal life. And so part of my purpose as a family life educator would be to preserve and strengthen that basic unity of society and to help them progress and to help them know what they can do to support each other and teach each other successfully. And the values that provide guidance as I work with people, some ones that I took away from the reading especially, was that in order for people to feel like I care, I need to try and look at the world through their eyes. That the people I teach have free agency and therefore make their own choices no matter what I do or say. I think that's a really important one to remember, is as much as I want them to change and progress or prevent these problems, that they have their own choices. Problems are best solved when those involved are mentally and emotionally ready to grow and feel safe and valued. Another important one, that it's hard, you can't force people to change, and it's hard for people to change before they're ready to. I have to keep in mind that I learn just as much from the people I teach, if not more, than they learn from me. In terms of motivation and helping people be motivated, I think trusting and feeling safe is really important for people to be motivated. They have to trust the motivator and have some sort of a relationship with them, or else I don't think they'll be motivated very easily. I think I play the motivator role or the informative role in the motivation process. As a family life educator, I would instill a desire to improve and be better and do better things. So I hope I would be able to establish a good relationship of trust and that then a feeling of being safe so that I could motivate those who I'm working with. That's it.